Direction Plus pre-filter kit. We've got the
Hiya.
What we've done on Luxy today is we've installed the PRELINE-PLUS pre-filter kit. So essentially, it doesn't matter where you go now for your fuel. Go 7-Eleven, go Anco, or go wherever you want, Caltex, any dodgy place down the road. What will happen is when you fill up your tank, everything's going to come through this filter first, which is the one we've just installed on this beautiful alloy mounting plate which they've supplied. It's all going to come through here, filter through. It's going to take out all those disgusting, all the water, particles, anything that you don't want to go through into your engine. Everything's going to come through here first. Now we've gone for the newer model, which also has an electronic device down the bottom which you can hook up into the car, and it notifies you. It will buzz and it flashes red whenever there's any water in there. It needs to be notifying you, saying that you've got to drain it out. And down the bottom there's a little screw dial which we just down here, if you can see it there, just give that a turn and all the water will come out, and then you just close it back up again and away we go. We've got the inlet which is coming from the fuel tank, coming on this side, goes through the filter, coming out into the outline here, all the way into then the stock filter. So this is the one that comes with the car from Toyota, and then we'll go pre-filter through that as well. Not that it really needs it, but when they keep it in play, and it'll go back into the engine bay and away you go from there. Alright guys, for the purpose of today's video, we're going to be talking about some of the tools that we're going to be needing to install a Preline ProVent filter for our MR Triton, which we're going to be installing on today. We've got a 3/8 impact driver. It's a stubby impact, really good to get into those tight spaces. We've got a 12mm socket set here. We've also got a 17 as well as a 7/8. Now these are the main sizes that we're going to be looking at for pretty much everything that we're going to be doing in terms of installing this bad boy. Now it's not necessarily required, but my recommendation is to use it. If you can get yourself a ratchet socket set, spanner set, removing the battery makes things a lot safer to work on these bad boys. And that's pretty much what we need to get this job done today. We're going to get straight into it from here. This is our Preline filter. I need to change the sides of where our inlet and outlet of the fuel is going to be. We've worked it out on the Triton. We've got the bracket installed. You'll see that in the video how we've done that. We've worked it out. The best way that we're going to have these hoses running and going to be closer side to the battery. It just runs a lot smoother. It's going to be a really tidy job coming to the manufacturing filter then. So in order to be able to do that, what we're going to do is we're going to use a 17mm socket, which I've prepared here. We're going to crack this one off, which I've already loosened up. This is going to come straight off because we're going to have to be replacing this with our, I believe it's the M12
M16?
Sorry, M16, thanks for that, Alex. Adapter that's come with the kit itself. And what you're going to find is you've got these little black washers that come with it. So make sure, you've got a few different bits and pieces, make sure you are using the correct washer for the correct parts. This is going to be placed straight on here. Now you can chuck a little bit of engine oil on there or a little bit of diesel for the purpose of lubrication. And once you have done that, let's screw that straight on. Now, I want both hoses coming off the same side. So I've got this plug here, which I'm going to be removing. And I'm going to grab my second adapter. Making sure, again, I grab my black
banjo washer.
And that's going to also be put on there. Now, yes, you've noticed that after mentioning about lubricating, I haven't put the lubrication on there. I will be prior to the complete install. And that is set up just like that. Pop it off. Now, yes, I still do have another rubber grommet in here. I do not want to leave that on there. The bolt that I've taken off from the opposite side, I'm going to be replacing that straight back onto here. It's going to make sure that when the fuel's going in and getting filtered through, nothing is coming out or seeping out through that rubber grommet. That is not necessary or required to remain there at all. Do make sure you remove it. And that's going to get a little crank over with our 17mm. Make sure they're both nice and tight. And we've got the 7/8 for the opposite side. After I lubricated, I'll tighten that up. Alright guys, make sure when you are tightening these, you do not need to crank them overly tight. This is alloy. If we push too hard or we give it too much of torque, we're going to crack and we're going to thread the inside of that. That is more than enough what you've just seen there. Hold this lightly in one hand and give it a nice push through. Now what you're going to notice is, with this here, Alex, name for this for me?
I don't know. Elbow?
Yeah, cool.
Elbow?
Right? So it is a bit of a right angle there. It just gives that nice smoothness when the hose is coming off. When we do connect this in, we don't have to screw it on the way. We can have a halfway, connect up our hose, pre-connect our hose if we want. Once that's in the right place here, you can see it's still swiveling without that moving. So we can swivel as needed. Once we've got in the correct position, then we're going to tighten it up however we see fit and locks it in place.
Beautiful.
What we're going to be doing is we are going to now put this one on, bolt it together. We're going to get the lengths of the hoses that we need, mark them up, and we are going to cut those hoses down to the correct size. So come on over.
What have you noticed there, mate?
Take a step back. All right. So I'm going to take backwards here. Now, there is an electrical component for this. Now, which the beauty of having the Plus system, it does come with an electrical alarm system, which will be connected up and fitted inside the cabin itself. What the electrical alarm system does is it notifies you when you do need to release the filter by unscrewing just a little bit of here, and water will pour out from there. That should not be in your fuel. Okay. Tighten that one back up and away you go. So paying that little bit of extra dollar gives you a little bit of extra peace of mind, or you can go for the cheaper option. Nothing wrong with that. Just making sure that you are remembering to pop it in your bonnet and releasing that every 5,000 kilometers or so.
Okay, there was one more feature.
Yep.
Okay, so what does the filter sensor do?
So the filter sensor itself senses whenever there's a water or contamination or anything that's come to the bottom of the filter kit that needs to be removed. So when we do release that, it will pour everything out. It has a flashing light that will be inside the cabin and an alarm system there.
Beautiful.
I'm going to plug this in now. Now the reason I'm going to do that is, once I hook all this up, I don't want to be trying to get my hands in that tight spot. Not to say that you can't do it, I just prefer not to once it's all plugged in. Now, I'm going to get this one. Make sure you pop it in the right way. Beautiful.
Yep.
Grab all those bolts.
I can hold them if you'd like.
Yeah, I'll get you those ones from me. Beautiful.
Okay.
Coming over. Pull some of the cable out just to give you that little bit of extra play. It's only held on by an elastic band. Which I'll zip tight later. And it fits beautifully in place there.
Yep.
1 and 2. Wash on the opposite side as well. And when we've got our Loctite bolt, grab a second washer. Thank you, Alex. And again, bolt. Now remember guys, all these nuts and bolts and washers, they all come in the kit. If they're in the kit, they're there to be used. If you're left with spare parts, make sure you go back over everything just to make sure we've got it the way that it should be. All right?
Beautiful. Sounds good.
Let's start this bad boy up.
Okay.
Definitely makes it a lot easier when you've got the correct tools out to play with.
What's going on there, buddy?
Yeah, mate. Struggle town. You're going to be cutting this part out. You're definitely going to be cutting this part out.
Might just leave it now.
All right. Here we go. Now, a little bit of a perfectionist, so I just want to make sure this is going to be as level as possible, because the aesthetic to me is important.
Yeah. And do like things fitting nice and plumb and flush, don't you?
Now, I know I just talked about the aesthetic and you can see my wiring here. I know it doesn't really add up. Yet to be completed. And again, there's no moving parts here, so don't go overboard with the cranking of these bolts. You don't need to worry about this moving. As long as there's enough in there while you are off-road, four-wheel driving, doing the absolute thing that we love. As long as that's not moving and knocking on anything, making any rattling inside, I'm happy with the way that sits there.
Yeah.
That is the bracket supplied. I'm confident that they've created this in such a way that it's going to be perfectly fine for this car.
Another thing I would mention is that once you got the hoses on there, it just adds that rigidity to it. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Let's get those hoses measured up.
Let's do it. How are we looking now, mate?
She's on. That's all good. All right. All right, guys. So it's all installed now. Made sure everything was nice and tight. Not worried about anything coming loose. That's all fixed up. Hoses are on.
Yep.
Essentially, last thing we need to do right now is, with the old filter, pump it through, just on top of here. Away we go. So
we'll just show everyone.
And just for you guys, so you're aware, it's going to start off really, really light, this pump here. And the reason for that is we've just opened up and we've brought air into here. We've released a little of that pressure. So now we need to pump this through, and you're going to know when to stop because you won't be able to pump it anymore. So single hand pump, as you can see, just keep going. It takes a little bit of time. We'll get there. It does tighten up a little bit. So I'm going to use two hands. Keep going until you just cannot pump any further. Not because you just physically can't, because you actually can't. Go.
Bit of a workout, mate.
Bit of a workout. Don't be dirty-minded, yeah? I know what you're thinking. So it's not getting tight just yet. This is me fatiguing.
I'd say that arm's had a lot of practice.
Nah.
So it's definitely something you've got to be patient with.
Be wary of it. It takes time. Don't just stop and like, oh, that should do it after a couple of pumps. You will feel it once you're there. Clearly, I'm just not there yet. It takes a little bit longer than 30 seconds.
Yeah. Jeez, this is a bit more than mine, isn't it?
Take a bit longer, yeah. So this is definitely taking longer than the Luxy. So if you're doing multiple cars like we have today, don't give up on it. Just keep going. But a bit like CPR, if you can't go any further, just swap over with partner.
Guys, if you know a quicker process, please comment.
You know what? I've got an idea. You know those massage guns where it's sort of like a bit of a jackhammer? Just pop that on top.
We got them hoses on the right way.
We're just popping it back into the tank. All right, here we go.
Yeah?
Yep, all right, so coming nice and close, listen to this.
Yeah.
So as you can hear now, that bit of a swooshy sort of sound, and it's getting really tight. So as you saw before with one hand, it was quite easy to push, and now...
I think you're right to go now.
I reckon she is... That's it. That cannot go any further.
Beautiful.
That is it. So we're done, which means essentially at this point in time, now I haven't finished off the wiring. I'm actually going to get a proper auto electrician to get that done. I want it nice and tidy, so all this electrical work that's a bit everywhere at the moment. He's going to come back in and he's going to tie all that up for me. So this is going to be zip tied at the moment, just off to the side, and away we go. But for now, let's crank over this motor.
Yep, sounds good.
I'm happy with that.
You happy with that?
I'm happy with that. And that's it, guys. That's pretty much done. MR Triton, and we've got your Luxy.
Yeah.
Pretty much good to go. not going to be concerned about any more rubbish or any more, or where I go and fill up my car anymore. I can go pretty much go wherever is cheapest at the moment, especially with the prices of fuel today. Where I want, and I'm going to go get filled up, not worrying about contamination in my vehicle.
Beautiful.
Alright guys, little hurdle that we've come across in the installation process. If you're like me and you've got the MR Triton and you're going ahead and fitted one of these bull bars on, especially if it's an Ironman bull bar, part of that process that you will find, not just the Ironman, there's a few out there, part of that process during the installation, the stock or the manufacturing water pump or water container for the windshield wipers is located where that bull bar gets mounted. So what happens is through that installation process, they relocate it, and one of the most common places that they relocate it is exactly where the Direction Plus filter needs to be. So what we've done today is we've removed it from that location, we've installed the components, the Direction Plus filter today, and we've located a perfect spot for it just here. So under the guard, just a bit sort of in front of where the battery is, there's a single point there, a single bolt, undo it, there's a bracket for the water container, bolt that straight in, and it sits there nice and perfect. It hasn't interfered, we haven't had to extend any of the wiring, any of the cables, there's plenty of it there, and it fits nicely. Easy access, pop that straight up, water, chemicals, detergent, whatever it is that you want to put in there, pop it closed again, and works like a treat.
Done.